My dad, aged 49, died of cancer a couple of months ago. I am 19 years old and didn't even know that he was sick. We always had a really turbulent and unhealthy relationship. I made the choice to cut him off and go no contact 3 years ago, which I still don't regret for reasons I am not going to mention here. Took everything out of me to make that choice. It hurt almost as much as his passing because I really cared about him a lot, and in many ways he was the only one who understood certain parts of me, even though he also caused the most damage. A couple of months ago, I got a call from him completely out of the blue, the morning after my friend's medical emergency in the emergency room. So I picked up the call and my father said that he was in hospice. Apparently, he had been sick for 2 years. I went to see him and he died 2 weeks later. I just finished my first year of university, but I only have a 2.8 grade point average. I was on track to being valedictorian of my high school until things got worse with my dad. Then my second semester of college took a turn for the worse with his illness. I feel like what I went through with him is controlling my life, and I don't know what to do. I can't be happy, and I can't succeed because of it. I'm trying to get through school despite this, but I'm also dealing with major depression and have been for 6 years now. I feel like I don't even want to learn anything or put in the effort anymore. I'm just going through the motions, which feels kind of lame. I wish I knew how to snap out of it. Thank you all for the overwhelming support. Story 1. Dad died in 2017. What do? You take the pain. It will be excruciating at first, but then dull. It will always be there, but you will persevere. I promise you, you will. Story 2. Mine died about 4 years ago. Same situation. He and I were not in close contact and had periods where our relationship was strained. I felt that made the grief more complicated. All you can do is keep going as best you can. Speak to people if you need to. Takes time. It took me 2 years to stop having random crying breakdowns, and he and I were not even close. Don't push yourself to move on. You will with time and acceptance. You will be okay. Story 3. My father died during my freshman year of college and my grades suffered. It is part of the grieving process. Do not self-medicate. You will heal in your own time. Make sure you talk to your educators so they understand what you are going through. Story 4. Go through the grieving process. Have a list of both short-term and long-term goals you would like to achieve. Achieve smaller goals and write them down. Start exercising or go for walks and runs. Good luck. Story 5. Short answer. Live your life doing what makes you happy and what is good for you. Strive to be better, be kind to others, and live life to the fullest. Loss is sad, but your family would not want you to dwell on it. Be happy for the time you had with them. If you and your father had a turbulent relationship, he likely did not tell you about his illness to avoid causing you worry. He might have seemed like a bad person at times, but he still likely wanted the best for you. Keep moving forward, do your best to live a good life, and make the world a more positive place with your presence. Story 6. I'm sorry this happened to you. You will be okay. You have much more living to do and many exciting experiences ahead. Here are some things you can try. Challenge your internal self and exercise. Even just go for a 30-minute walk each day. No music. Take in the surroundings and explore different routes. Find a hobby. Can't afford it just yet? Try other things and save for it. Set that goal. Join social clubs. Australia has men's sheds, where men work on tasks together in an environment that encourages conversation. Other countries may have similar groups. Give it a try. Reach out and talk to people. Find someone to confide in. Also, check out the YouTube channel, Dad. How do I? It offers excellent practical advice for everyday tasks and caring. Sleep well and maintain a regular schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day if possible. Be well, friend. Story 7. Do you do therapy, journaling your feelings, or practicing gratitude? There are many small ways to work on yourself. Remember, everyone has their own unique journey in life. Story 8. My mother passed away some time ago, so my heart goes out to you. You seem to be looking for functional advice beyond a simple gesture of sympathy. The only thing that helped me with my mother's passing was making a commitment to put her life into perspective for my benefit. I decided to look at my mother's life as a lesson. Everything she did well, everything she did wrong, and everything in between. I figured the best way to honor her was to take the sacrifices she made as a parent and turn them into lessons for myself and my children. It gave me a perspective of renewed purpose in her life and death. Maybe it will work for you. Godspeed, brother. Story 9. My mom died when I was in the third year of university because of cancer as well, which was 6 to 7 years ago. She fought for years, so I knew it was coming, but when it actually happened, it felt very different. Even when you expect it, nothing prepares you for that reality. I can only imagine how heavy it feels for you right now. What got me through was my girlfriend and a few close friends. Without them, honestly, I do not know where I would be. Talk about it. Whatever you are feeling, say it to someone you trust. Even if it is messy or awkward, just do not go through it alone. I understand what you mean about drifting and feeling like you are just going through the motions. That is not lame. It is just how your brain tries to survive when it is overloaded. It is okay to step back for a bit, but do not isolate yourself for too long. One thing I wish someone had told me is that you do not have to fix yourself right now. Just try to connect with someone even a little. That is the only thing that moves the needle when you are stuck. Hold on. You are not alone. Story 10. It comes in waves. That is what grief does to you. It gets better with time. Only those who have grieved a lost loved one can comprehend and understand what you are going through. It is the worst feeling, like you want to throw away everything else. What is even the point? You feel empty, lost, and just sad. Take good time to grieve. Let it out. Be kinder to yourself. I was not on good terms with my dad when he passed away. It is just the worst feeling, knowing that you can never undo or mend that broken relationship. I still dream about my dad every now and then. I like to think that he is actually talking to me in my dreams. I know it is just wishful thinking. I always end up in tears each morning, but my family does not know. It is probably for the best. Story 11. My dad died when I was young too, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. To be honest, before he passed, I was very aimless, especially while his condition was getting progressively worse. I was very lost and not motivated as a person. I was depressed for a while after he died until one day I hit rock bottom and had to ask myself, if he could see me, would he want me to live like this? Would I want him to see me giving up a little every day like this? What would he say if he were around? Ever since then, I've been doing it for him just as much as I do it for me. He would have loved to see me reach my fullest potential. So whenever I want to quit, give up, face a big setback, or avoid doing that one thing I've been putting off, I just think about the fact that I would kill to have one more day with him. Like I would overcome almost anything. That reminds me of what it feels like to want something again. It reminds me I'm capable of wanting something, which paradoxically helps me remember how to get back up again, if that makes sense. I just have to switch things in my life until I feel like I want things again. I don't know if that helps you, but you're 19 and you're grieving. A lot of grief. And the time before he died when you had to start coming to terms with it way before you were likely ready to accept it. At least I wasn't when I saw the strongest man in my life start to lose weight rapidly and be reduced to a shadow of himself. Is an aimless and rather sad, somber journey through space and time until one day all that aimless journeying clicks after a couple of igniting events. You're allowed to keep being aimless. Just get ready to get back up again when the time comes. Okay? You'll know it when you see it. And when it comes, do it for both of you. Edit. I just read your comments more closely and saw you had a complicated relationship with your dad. It's totally fine to just do it for yourself and not for both of you. I definitely understand the complexity of feeling. He can be both the person who hurt you and others, and still someone you cared about and who understood you on very deep levels. That's okay too, to sit with both of those truths about him forever. Story 12. It is difficult and unfortunate that you were estranged as well. I am estranged from my own family and do not hear about passings until after they occur. It is what it is. You are still young but coming into your own as an adult. Keep doing what you need to live and survive. Things do get better as you age and as time passes. Stay true to yourself and who you are supposed to be. Story 13. Man, reading this broke my heart. I do not have any advice but just wanted to say I am sorry you had to go through that. and I hope you see happier days in your life. Story 14. My mom passed away unexpectedly when I was 20 and in college. I never got a chance to say goodbye to her. I still consider it some sort of miracle that I was able to graduate. I understand what you are going through and empathize with you. Stay strong, internet stranger. Story 15. I am trying to get through school despite this. Talk to the student services or your advisor at the university. They usually have resources to help, such as counseling or allowing you to take a semester off or something similar. Story 16. Get some therapy, likely available to you at school. You have some complicated grief going on, and having someone by your side to point out the landmines will help you keep your head on straight. It's hard to grieve a bad parent, as you're also grieving the good parent you didn't get. You're free now and you can do this. Story 17. I'm 59 and I lost my dad 15 years ago. It still sucked. We had a weird relationship off and on. He left my mom when I was 15 and moved away a year later. He never paid his child support and pulled some pretty bad stunts with my sisters as far as parenting. Pissed me off and I quit talking to him for quite a while. Life is really a wild ride. He was actually a pretty good man overall. He just did not know how to be a husband or a father. One thing he told me pretty often is that I should always assume people are doing the best they can. As a young person, I didn't really get that, but as I got older, it made a lot more sense. We never truly know what others are going through and what their mental state is. My dad's father was a drunk and a traveling salesman. He worked when he needed to and wasn't home very much. My dad left home when he was 13. My dad didn't drink, but he kind of had all the characteristics of an alcoholic. I inherited the drinking, I guess, and it didn't do me any good. I have learned that almost everything is out of my control except for what I say and do. So there is not much use in dwelling on the past unless I need to make amends for something. Everything that happens was going to happen, and it is best to be thoughtful about what we say and do. It is important to live life on life's terms, meaning that we should meet our problems head-on and deal with them appropriately in the present, or they will surely come back around. We should try to make every moment in our lives meaningful. That could mean a lot of things, but to me, it means that I need to find a way to be grateful every day, whether it is for the beauty of nature, a little bit of quiet time, or just the fact that I am doing okay. If we spend our time distracted by worries and thinking about what might be or what has already happened, our lives will be over and we will have wasted much of it. The only way to truly be happy is to give to others. That could be helping someone in need, sharing some time with someone, holding the door open for a stranger, or just saying a kind word. Life is better if you surround yourself with like-minded people and stay active in your beliefs and goals. If we live to be 100, it will go by quickly. Get enough sleep every night and stay as healthy as you can. It will pay off in the long run. That is about the most that I can tell you as far as what you should aim to do. We are not perfect, and the most important thing is to grow and improve ourselves along the way. Story 18. My dad was in the intensive care unit and coded while I was in college. That is when they found he had pancreatic cancer. I was no contact, but we did not have a great relationship. That semester I went on academic probation. I persevered and graduated. As hard as it was, continuing through was the best decision I made in life. It is not easy, but you can do it. You are resilient. A big help to me was studying in a group, which helped me learn the material better and form closer relationships that supported me emotionally. I generally enjoyed school again. He passed in December, and it hurt deeply. The only thing that helps is time. Wishing you the best. You have this. Take care of yourself, feel what you need to feel, and it will get better. Story 19. You carry on as best you can. If your school has mental health support, use it. My father died December 30th when I was 24. It was probably almost 30 years before I wasn't just a completely grumpy person about New Year's Eve. I can't say it ever really gets better, but it's like a bad joint. You get used to it and learn to live with it, and the intervals between thinking about it get longer. The year I was as old as he was when he died was a really strange feeling. You can do this. I'm sure your father wouldn't want your life to dissolve because his ended. Story 20. Sorry, original poster. Seek some therapy and give yourself time to grieve. Just do the best you can and ask for help. Story 21. My dad died this year too. I am so angry. Like, look at you, my hero, dying of cancer. I am still so angry that I cannot believe it. It is like I am enraged that he was human and could die. Sounds stupid, but I really believed in him so many times. I just don't know how to get past the anger. It is completely nonsensical. Story 22. I'll try to offer some advice. I have my parents, but they've lost their parents, and my wife lost her dad. The words my mom gave to my wife were, "It doesn't ever go away, but it gets easier. No matter what you were on track for, it doesn't matter now. You get back up on your horse and trot along as best you can. You can take breaks, let the horse drink and feed, but you need to get back up on it and carry on despite the load you now carry. You may find yourself lost and without direction, but if you go nowhere, you will die." I almost lost my mom while in college myself. Not totally, but she had a brain tumor, and the extraction could have meant she would recover as an entirely different person. The first thing I did was go to all of my professors and explain my situation, saying I would likely need additional help due to the distraction. You may be surprised by the result. Most professors were more generous while grading, giving credit for understanding the concept even if the answer was wrong, except for one professor with whom I had a study class. He never called me in for it. To be fair, I was a senior and had distinguished myself in my junior class with him, so that probably played a part. The point is, you've just become an adult and experienced a tragedy that even I haven't had to go through at 10 years your senior. There are adults around you who have gone through it or know someone close who has. The world is not without understanding, empathy, or mercy. Communicate with these people in your life, and more often than not, you'll find folks sympathetic who can help you get where you need to be. People who want to actually see you fail are few and far between. And if you try and put in effort, those people are even rarer. I'm sorry for your loss. Take a moment, but never stop moving forward, no matter what direction you head. The best story I ever read was from an online forum. Some kid messed up in school, and his dad had to come pick him up from the principal's office. But he recalled his dad putting a hand on his shoulder and saying something to the effect of "always forward." Those two words became a rallying cry for my family during my mom's illness. Before I left for winter break, the last time I expected to see her again, I wrote her a sticky note that said just, "always forward." She became a sticky note person after her surgery because her short-term memory was poor. But eventually, she mostly recovered. Do you know what she did? She kept that sticky note. She preserved and framed it so she could look at it every day to remind her that we have to move always forward. So that's my advice to you, my friend. We stumble, tumble, and fall. Sometimes we are knocked on our backs, and sometimes we are knocked out. Sometimes we are incapacitated for great lengths of time. I'm sure you've heard all the great sports quotes about just getting back up. Knock down 9 times, get up 10. But I think they fall short. Getting up is half the battle. Don't forget to live. Don't forget to chase your dreams and aspirations. Don't forget to appreciate life, fall in and out of love, and be a young adult. It will never go away, but it will get easier. Don't forget to move forward. Always forward. Story 23. I was in my 3rd year of college, going on 1 year of not talking to my father when he ended up in hospice. He was a very cruel man who created a lot of trauma that I'm still trying to work through. But I knew I owed it to myself to see him in hospice before he died. I sat by his hospice bed every day, feeding him pudding or applesauce, for almost a month until he passed. I didn't cry or mourn him. I felt relief, but other than that, I was numb. I finally broke down several months later, mostly because I was never going to have the chance to have a happy and healthy relationship with my dad. That's what I've mourned the most. The trauma, the missed opportunity, and never feeling loved by him. You have to let yourself grieve. Don't hold in your tears or shame yourself for being angry at him or for any negative emotions toward him. Let the feelings pass through you and let them out. But also allow yourself to miss him if you do. Don't admonish yourself for any emotions you experience, except for guilt. We all have a habit of finding something to feel guilty about when someone dies, and most people don't deserve that at all. Story 24. Please listen. I am living proof you can get through this. My dad died 1 month before I turned 15. Times and roads were tough, but a few breaks and a chip on my shoulder to succeed were my strength. I am recently retired with a decent pension and a nice investment portfolio. My story is not the same as yours, but the story of hurt and pain from losing a parent is generally the same. I hope you take away this message. If that kid did it, why can't I? Story 25. I was so focused on offering advice that I forgot to offer my sincere condolences to you and your family. I also sincerely apologize for not saying so in my initial response. Story 26. There is not much to do. Tie up any loose ends, have some bad days, have some good days. Come to terms with the bad parts and the good parts of your relationship. With respect to chronic depression, medications might help, but a lot of it is just learning coping mechanisms. With experience and attention, you start to recognize the behaviors that make things worse and the ones that make things better, and you learn to go against instinct. For example, I tend to isolate, so I say yes to invitations even when I really want to say no. Also, getting past the hormone swings of puberty helped level things out a lot, but you may have several years before that. Story 27. I lost my father last year after being distant for a while. My brother, who had no contact with him for 10 years, said he is grieving the father he never had, in addition to grieving the one we lost. I do not think there is a way to simply snap out of it. You have to go through it. There is the other side, but sometimes grief appears in surprising ways. Story 28. I have a rule about this. 1 year. It takes 1 year before this is no longer the main story of your life, on average plus or minus 1 year. Day 1, shock. Week 1, shock and pain. Week 2, how dare it be a Tuesday? Don't they know my dad is dead? Month 1, tears, pain, and it's all you can think about. Life can't move. Month 3, gotta keep working, but this sucks. Nothing feels right. Month 6, I'd give up everything to see him again, but I have to go to work. Month 9, every day but not all day I think about it. Year 1. The first day I can remember not thinking about it, and that makes me sad. I'm sorry for your loss. Time will carry you away from this. Understanding that may help you find your rhythm at each of the different steps. Story 29. Dad died in 2021. Live through the pain. Remember the good and forgive the bad. We all have our faults, and he loved you through that, even if it felt like a failure. Story 30. Sorry to hear that about your father, but I would throw a party if my father died. If he was good to you and your family, then remember every time you get upset why you are feeling that way. You lost someone great in your life. All that sadness is because you have all that love and good memories. Story 31. I heard you can take 2 quarters off school and still come back. I am not completely sure, so do your research and talk to your counselors. Maybe you can take 2 quarters off school to give yourself time to mourn, to feel it, and to deal with it before going back. Story 32. I am sorry for your loss. You will go through many emotions considering your relationship with your father, but he was still your father and you had good moments with him as well, which I think you will cherish forever. Time will heal everything. There is no particular way to deal with such loss. Story 33. I am sorry for your loss. You are going through a mourning period that needs its time. We all experience this when a loved one passes away. Make sure your school is informed, as there may be a school counselor who can assist you. If possible, seek mental health support. Many places have grief counselors who can help you. Story 34. 1. Go see your school psychologist and try really hard to get 2 visits a week. 2. A 2.8 grade point average is not a big deal unless you are going to graduate school. Most employers that care, which is not a lot, want above a 3.0 grade point average. 3. You can take some time off college, like a semester or 2, and just go to junior college. Take some easy classes in a low-stakes environment. If you fail because your mental health is poor, you can retake them for a lower cost. 4. Stay busy, but not overworked. Just busy. Develop a hobby. Join some clubs. Change up your social patterns. Story 35. Hello? I promise you that time is a great healer. I am in the opposite role. I am diagnosed with cancer and am trying my best to leave good memories to my children, who are older, over 20. My best wishes to you. Story 36. Sorry to hear you are going through that. A friend went through a similar situation when his mother was diagnosed. She fortunately has since made a full recovery. The disruption to his studies was significant, and his grades began dropping. He sought help from the university but tried to continue finishing his course, thinking that trying was better than taking a break and coming back. To cut a long story short, because he took some final exams, they would not allow him to retake anything, and his grade was not as good as it could have been. You must reach out to the university as soon as possible and let them know this is happening and impacting your grades. There are resources in place to help students going through tough times. Rely on them to get the support you need, and if you need to take time away to grieve or to refocus, that is okay too. There are mechanisms in place for you. Best of luck. Story 37. You are in the grieving process. Write a letter to your father. Be honest and sincere. No one else has to see it except him. This may help you move forward. Take care. Story 38. If you have one or two very close friends who you can confide in, this really helps mentally. Regardless of whether you do or do not, it is never a bad idea to see a therapist. Unlike friends, therapists are completely impartial and can help you work through your issues objectively in the best way. Talking about problems helps. Seriously, it is not weak to speak, and I congratulate you for being brave enough to post this here. Story 39. This may sound blunt. Sorry for your loss, but you have to keep moving. Death is a part of life, and you need to keep moving for your own sake. They are gone, and there is no changing that. Do not dwell on the past. Look to the future and your own goals. Find a hobby to fill free time and keep your mind busy. Study hard. You have this. Story 40. I miss my dad every minute of every day. Although our relationship was very turbulent, I choose to remember the better times instead of the heartbreaking ones. I am grateful in a way that the failures, shortcomings, and sometimes disregard he had made me into the father that I am proud to be. I would dare to say I became who I am in spite of him. He was a good grandfather and expressed a lot of regret over the years for his failure to be close. His life inspired me to be actively present in the lives of our children and grandchildren and not to take anything for granted. I miss our talks in the later years and the backhanded advice he gave throughout my life, although at the time it seemed sarcastic and hurtful. It was kind of like being mentored by a heckler. Stinging but usually useful when you separate the truth from the hurt. I wish you well and am sorry for your loss. I wish I could say it gets easier, but it does not. You just get better at continuing to move forward in your own life. Story 41. I will sound quite brutal as I lost my dad suddenly when I was 19. We had a good relationship, but still had the kind of men don't share feelings way. The last thing I said was, "See you later, fat boy." That still upsets me to this day. But that's how we communicated our feelings in love. First, don't shut yourself off from people. Ask for help. Don't question things that happened in the past. Just learn from them. Everyone has things they would like to change. I do hope you made up with him in the end. If not, sometimes it just works out that way. If you try something and it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least you tried. I'm not an expert in depression, but just try to get help. Break everything you have to do into smaller bits and try to tick things off one at a time. When I pass, I want people to be sad but not drastically affected in their lives. Remember the good times and enjoy life. Story 42. So I can kind of relate in a sense. My dad, 80 years old, passed away about a year ago. The main difference is that I didn't cut him out of my life, at least not intentionally. My dad had heart surgery in 2019. It was an experimental surgery and it resulted in him having a stroke. He lost the ability to speak, although he regained some of it, but it was always incomplete sentences. He also lost the ability to read as he used to. I won't go into details, but he progressively got worse over time. He had fallen a few times, had a brain bleed, and so on. He became a shell of his former self. I tell people I feel like my dad died twice. Once in 2019 with the stroke, and again last year. During the final years of his life, I spent some time with him, but he wouldn't talk. He would just watch his TV show on repeat, Heartland. So I spent more time with my mom. That's why I say I kind of unintentionally cut him out of my life. He was always there, but I didn't spend as much time with him as I would have liked. It really sucks. My dad was never super present in my life, but his influence was always there. Even though he wasn't present, I suddenly felt like I was drowning in life. Anxiety skyrocketed, depression took over, and then I officially started taking Prozac to help with that. And now I am in therapy. I can't say just how much therapy has helped me. Therapy may not work for everyone, but I think everyone should give it an honest try. Your college should hopefully have some kind of counselor for you to talk to. Maybe talk to your mom and see if your insurance covers therapy. Therapy will be uncomfortable. It will make you talk about things you don't want to talk about, but I promise if you stick with it, it will help. If therapy is not an option, that's okay. But I would say don't try to hide your emotions. Don't bury them. Let yourself feel your emotions. Regardless of what your relationship with your dad was, this is undoubtedly going to be a tough time. You may feel sad or upset. It may feel weird. Like, why am I feeling sad for a man that wronged me? That is normal. This man has been in your life literally your entire life. It will affect you. It will take some time. It will probably take longer to process than you want. But just let the process happen. Don't deny yourself your emotions. I am still grieving my father. I just sold the car that he and I bought together years ago. That was an insanely emotional thing to do, and neither of us are car people. But a 2006 Toyota Corolla will always be associated with him now. Story 43. Live a life that would make him proud despite all he has done. He may have done some wrong things. It might disappoint you or upset you. Use those experiences as motivation. Prove that he did not break you. And the parts he did well, own those too. Use them as inspiration that even the most troubled people can do good things because he was flawed, but he did not ruin everything. Learn to forgive him. He is not perfect, and it is okay to blame him for what he did. But take responsibility for how you respond. If you cannot do that right now, use what you have to motivate you until you can. He raised you, helped shape you, but he does not determine who you are. You are the only one who can do that. Story 44. I am much older than you, original poster. I did not see or speak with my father nearly as often as others in the family. I did not know he was in the hospital until I received an email from his wife saying he had been admitted several days earlier and she was afraid he might not come out. At first, I was not sure if this was an exaggeration on her part, but I knew he had experienced a few issues in the previous months. So I booked a cross-country flight at the last minute. I was able to see him in the hospital. He could not speak because of the tubes down his throat, but he was coherent enough to know I was there. He passed away the next day. It is a strange feeling. Even though we spoke infrequently, there were many things I wanted to ask him that I now cannot. That is difficult. I dislike cliches, but to answer your question, time will heal some of your wounds. The feelings you have are normal. I choose to focus on the happier moments my father and I shared and not dwell on the conflicts. Story 45. Mine died 10 years ago when I was in high school. We had a bad relationship and I had cut him off. When I heard about the car accident, I couldn't have cared less. I continued to go to school and mostly ignored what had happened while he was in a coma in the hospital. I went to see him a few times and we had to pull the plug. I was already depressed, partly because of how he treated us. It was bittersweet because I didn't have a dad anymore, but I also didn't have the weight of an oppressor pushing down on me. He never got to see me graduate or join the military and has never met my wife. All of my achievements have been without him, and that took a while to process. Don't let his passing drag you down. You will achieve and be successful on your own terms, and only you can make that happen. It gets easier, but do not give up on yourself. You live on, and don't let his effort as a parent go to waste. Story 46. My dad died in a hit-and-run accident. He was gone from one day to the next. We had a strained relationship, but I wish it had been better. It still hurts me today because I could have used the support of a father as I have gone through life. Unfortunately, I never had it, and I will never know what that support feels like. I hope you can find peace from all of this, as the loss of a man is more difficult than people give it credit for. Story 47. Hey man, you're in basically the same position I was when I was younger. My dad died 7 days before my 19th birthday. Today is actually my 34th birthday. He was 50. I had a low grade point average that semester of college, too. It was difficult, and it will be for you, too. I was living in my truck at the time, and I think that the feeling of having nothing and losing him turned from something debilitating to something that forced me to grow as an individual. I was reading a book at the time that really helped me process everything. Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. I'll buy you a copy and send it to you if you direct message me an address. Remember, the way we conduct ourselves in our most difficult moments defines us. You have an obligation to prove your capability to yourself and yourself alone. Story 48. I lost my father when I was 18 to alcoholism and my mother when I was 22 to suicide caused by mental illness and alcoholism. Unlike you, I was expecting and fearing their deaths ever since I was around 10 years old. It was a constant, everyday fear. However, by the time my mother died, I had somehow made peace with myself and accepted the fact that sooner or later this would happen. I knew there was no way to save them. I know it sounds horrible, but at the end of the day, it was also the end of my constant fear and suffering that had gone on since I was a child. I hate to use the word, but it was a relief. I absolutely miss both of them, and I understand why they were the way they were. I have completely forgiven them for their faults, even though I do wonder from time to time what our life could have been if they were healthy. For you, the situation is obviously very different since it was so sudden and surprising. All I can tell you is it will get easier. It will get better. Life does go on. I know it won't seem like it now, but I promise you it will. I wish all the best for you. Story 49. Hey, this post struck a chord as I had the same questions when I was 17 and my dad died from chronic alcoholism. The pain is rough, but it doesn't hold a candle to the anger and self-hate that can grow. I don't know if this will resonate with you, but I'll tell you just in case. For the longest time, I thought I wasn't allowed to be mad at my dad because he was dead. I was also mad at myself. We had a rough relationship similar to your father, and I was the first to leave him in hospice the day he later died. He was given a second chance at life after recovering from nearly dying, and the first place he went was the liquor store. He said he wanted to die. Why would I stick around to watch him accomplish his wish? I was the last person to leave the service. They had to tell me to go. The point is that I had this perception that I abandoned my father, but he abandoned me first. I was angry at him and didn't allow myself to be. Part of me felt like letting the anger go would be losing the last part of him that I had. This carried on and grew into my mid-20s, poisoning my view of myself and my relationships with others. It wasn't until I met my wife that someone cared enough to tell me to get therapy. You're allowed to feel lost right now. You're allowed to be mad at your father. The things you said and did, no matter what they were, can be forgiven, but most importantly, must be forgiven by yourself. Things seem derailed right now because what you went through is a traumatic loss. Give yourself as much grace as you can. I know it's a cliché, but open your heart to the pain as much as it hurts. That's the way to make it heal. If you feel yourself holding on to anger and can't let it go, remember that it's like a hot coal. It hurts worse the longer you hold on to it. Seek therapy faster than I did. August 1st will be 20 years since he died. I wasted so much time being angry and hating myself. You don't have to do the same. I wish you only the best. Story 50. My dad died when I was 13. Our relationship was not healthy. He was abusive and failed to be the father I needed as a child. I realized in my early 20s, after years of therapy, that I wasn't grieving him. I was grieving the role of a father figure in my life. I felt that since my father died, I would never get that father figure. I thought I would never get closure. Over the last couple of years, I've learned to be a better father to myself than he ever could have been. I learned to care for myself through bipolar depression, be proud of myself for taking care of my mom and brother as a teenager, and be forgiving for the mistakes I've made. My therapist also helped me understand that if he were still living, I probably would not have gotten any closure anyway. I don't hate him. I understand that his battle with drugs and alcohol deeply impacted his ability to be a father, and I recognize that he was a flawed, broken person struggling with his own issues. It doesn't excuse what he did, but I've learned to forgive the flawed man, and not his sins. Hopefully my experience helps. Story 51. Do you have access to counseling through your school or privately? If you do, try finding a counselor who specializes in grief. Story 52. Hey there. I am not creepy or creeping. I sincerely hope you are doing okay and that some of the feedback and advice has helped you. Story 53. I suggest you talk to a counselor at your university. Taking that first step can make all the difference in your life. Story 54. Of course, you are still going through and experiencing a lot of difficult things. Look, my opinion, other than what I have already expressed, is that whatever good your dad had, carry that with you. He will truly live on within you by carrying his good qualities. You got this next assignment. Story 55. Spend time with your family. I have lost both my parents, and it is not easy. As far as the depression goes, do not ignore it. Start going to the gym. It does not matter if you just watch beginner weight training videos, join a CrossFit gym, or run on the treadmill until you feel completely exhausted. Stay consistent. Do not start exercising for a few days or weeks and then stop. Studies suggest it takes about 6 months to establish a workout routine fully, and missing a couple of days will not derail you. I promise you will start to feel better, and you will likely become healthier. It is a win-win. Do not use substances to try to solve your depression. They may very likely make it worse. Story 56. I do not know. Mine passed away 3 months ago on a regular Thursday. He had a heart attack in his sleep. One moment he was here and the next he was not. Spend time with your family. Do what feels right for you. Grief does not follow rules, and you are allowed to feel it in whatever way you need to. Be kind to yourself and hold your loved ones close. Life is still worth living even when it hurts. Hoping you find peace. Story 57. My dad passed away about 6 months ago. I can't say it's the same situation because my dad was amazing, loving, caring, and always there for me. However, his dad was an abusive, neglectful alcoholic who only seemed to care about himself. I didn't know him and he died when I was 5. My dad's childhood was basically terrible, and it would have been easy for him to become a bad person and go down a wrong path, but he didn't. I remember some advice he gave to a neighborhood kid who wasn't in the greatest spot in life and was starting to get into trouble. My dad told him, at some point in your life, you have to realize it doesn't matter what kind of difficult things have happened to you or how they affect you. You have to realize it's your own life and your own decisions that affect your happiness, even if bad things happened in the past. You have to decide how to move forward on your own, take responsibility for your actions, and be the person you want to be. He was saying this to a 14-year-old kid who was getting into trouble. But that kid told me my dad's words stayed with him, changed his outlook, and influenced his decisions, keeping him away from the wrong crowd. This is not exactly your situation in either case, but if you find his words meaningful, I hope they help. Honestly, I don't know what to do without my dad either. Good luck. Story 58. My dad died a couple of months ago, so I am still figuring this out. The best I can tell is to live your life the best you can and be thankful for every day. Otherwise, it becomes too much. Story 59. Take comfort in at least being aware of what is happening. Once mine passes, I probably will not even know. My grandmother is not doing well, and I have to text my aunt for updates. He is a deadbeat. I have not really known him my entire life. I know I will feel different when he passes. I will keep my focus on my family and do what I can to process it. Keep on keeping on, man. Story 60. Recently, I had to do the same after also having no contact. You move forward one day at a time. You call his friends and family to let them know and then listen to how great of a man he was repeatedly. You sort out his will and estate, hopefully he had one. You arrange the funeral or cremation. An urn is the most affordable option. You manage his house and possessions if you are the executor of the will. Then you cry, then you drink, then you cry again, and finally you breathe easier as he is gone and no longer a problem. Story 61. What do you do now? Become the man you wish your father had been. Everything you despised about him, do not fall into the same trap. Do not look back at what was. Look forward to what can be. Knowing what your father died of, at least now you know what you may be destined for, unless you correct the behaviors that may have contributed to his death. I am in a similar situation. My father was not a father to me. One of my friends growing up asked me if I was adopted because of how poorly my parents treated me. I have also cut off communication, but I feel the need to confront him and let him know that despite his mistreatment, I have made something of myself. That should be your motivation, to rise out of the hell you endured as someone stronger. Realize that it did not kill you, you are still standing. Forge forward with the sole purpose of being 10 times the man your father was. There may come a time when you wish he could be around to acknowledge your success. Instead, prove to yourself what you are made of and break the cycle. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.